Andy Dalton should never start another game in the NFL for the Carolina Panthers ever again. After today's performance against the Buffalo Bills, the final score was 40-9. Let me say that again, 40-9. And this is why I said 2 weeks ago, be careful with the Carolina Panthers hype. They beat a lot of bad football teams like the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Jets, and the Miami Dolphins, but I am still disappointed in this team because they were undefeated at home coming into this matchup and they had a top rushing defense in the NFL. That's no longer the case. And it's not all on Andy Dalton. It's not all on just one player, but as a unit, they came out flat in today's matchup against the Bills. Now, before I get into the rest of the roster here, Andy Dalton, he is who he is. I will give him credit for what he did last season. He came in, he gave them a spark. That first game against the Las Vegas Raiders, bad football team, but he had 3 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions when they first benched Bryce Young. In this matchup against the Bills, he was horrible all the way around. He did not have one good moment in this matchup that stood out. He looked like an old backup quarterback that he is, but he's regressed from last season. And look, Father Time, it gets the best of everyone. Andy Dalton, we all know that he doesn't have the ability to move around and make plays outside the pocket. But when he did have time inside the pocket, he could not read the defense. He could not get the football where it needed to be. He could not lead wide receivers up the field. He was underthrowing passes and he looked trigger shy. He was indecisive. He had open receivers in the flat. He was not taking what the defense gave him. When you have JT Sanders in the flat, the same with Rico and Chuba Hubbard, and you're just staring down the field, you're hoping that Tedero McMillan will get open. Then you just take a dumb sack inside the pocket. That's on the quarterback, and that's not on the play caller here. And Dave Canales, he's going to get a lot of blame in this video as well. Just wait on it. But Andy Dalton was just all around, just a pitiful performance. Right before halftime, the Carolina Panthers, they have a chance to take a field goal. Just walk away with 3 points. It's 10 seconds remaining on the clock. This veteran quarterback, who has been in this league for 10 years now, was a starter in 2015 with the Cincinnati Bengals. It's 2025. Quarterback 101. When you work with a coach, head coach, offensive coach, quarterbacks coach, they all tell you the clock, he's your friend, but he's also your enemy. And they walk you through every single situation possible. When it's a couple of seconds left and you don't have a timeout, and we're right in the field goal range, a coach will tell you, don't turn the football over, don't take a dumb sack, don't force the football where it doesn't need to be. All Andy Dalton had to do was to snap the football, throw the football out of bounds where the receiver was at so it doesn't go for intentional grounding. Instead, Andy Dalton is looking down the field to throw the football in the red zone. 10 seconds remaining. He takes a dumb sack. They have to run a fire drill. The Carolina Panthers, they don't have a timeout remaining. So they get the field goal unit on the field. The kicker doesn't have time to get into his stance. He just runs on the field. He kicks the football. He mixes the field goal. That is on Andy Dalton. If you throw the football out of bounds, or if you just spike it into the ground, you give your field goal unit more time to go out there, get that field goal. You walk away with 3 points going into halftime. And I'm not saying that those 3 points would have made or break the game for the Carolina Panthers, but it gives you momentum. It could have helped you out in the second half. Instead, you walk away with nothing. Another play in this matchup, Andy Dalton had a terrible fumble. Now, I've gotten on Bryce Young for his turnovers, and his turnovers have been insane this season with dumb fumbles against the Miami Dolphins and dumb interceptions. But at least Bryce Young can make up for some of those turnovers. Andy Dalton doesn't have the athleticism to move outside the pocket. And he can't make those throws deep down the field anymore like how he did with the Cincinnati Bengals and what he did with the New Orleans Saints a few years back. He doesn't have that ability anymore because he is older. So these turnovers, they're going to kill you in a matchup, especially when you face an elite level team like the Buffalo Bills and the reigning MVP in Josh Allen. You're hurting your defense. And as a veteran quarterback, you have to know this. This is football 101. But that fumble, that hurt. Then he goes out there and he throws this dumb interception. And AJ Epinesa and Joey Bosa, they were game wreckers in this game all the way through. The offensive line did him little to no favors. But at the same time, we have seen a similar offensive line unit work with Bryce Young. He gets the football out quicker. He moves outside the pocket. And I still don't think that Bryce Young is a great quarterback option to have. To me, he's not a top 15 quarterback to have in this league. But we've seen Bryce Young over the last 3 games play better in this system and be more comfortable with the running backs around him. And he will take what the defense gives him for all his flaws. But Andy Dalton, just terrible. It was so bad that I wanted to see Hendon Hooker in the late 3rd quarter. That is how bad things got in this game against the Buffalo Bills. I never want to see Andy Dalton on the field in a Panthers uniform ever again. Amazing person off the field. Had a solid career with the Cincinnati Bengals. But after this season, it's time to retire. And hopefully for Bryce Young, that ankle injury doesn't last longer than this week. Hopefully he'll be able to play for the rest of the season. And Bryce Young, he still needs to play better. I'm not going to just come on here and make it seem like if Bryce Young played in this matchup, the Carolina Panthers would have had a shot. We've seen Bryce Young have some bad moments this season against the New England Patriots on the road. And you have some Carolina Panther fans come out and say, well, he did not have a turnover in that matchup. He still did not perform well enough in that game. You still need to see more out of Bryce Young for him to be a franchise quarterback. Sooner than later, they have to make a decision on that 5th-year option. And they need to see Bryce Young take that step forward. You beat the Dallas Cowboys. You beat the New York Jets. You beat the Miami Dolphins. Those are all bad teams in this league. Can you go out there and can you compete with the elite level teams? We have seen Bryce Young do this last season, but he hasn't done it this year. He needs to be better. Now, the offensive game plan here with Dave Canal is what has brought you to the dance and what got you on this 3-game winning streak before you ran into the Buffalo Bills here was your run game, primarily with Rico. Instead, he's trying to use both running backs here. Chuba Hubbard has a contract extension that he signed with the Carolina Panthers. He almost had 1,200 rushing yards last season, 10 rushing touchdowns. He is an effective running back. He's a very good player. They're trying to work him back into this system, coming off that calf injury. And I still think that Chuba has a place with this offense, but the lead running back should be Rico. And Rico needs 15 to 20 touches every single week, whether Bryce Young is in the lineup or not. That should be the identity of the Carolina Panthers. And we have seen this with Dave Canales before. He will go out there. He will abandon the run. The game was close early on, but yet you're making Andy Dalton go back there, 5-step drop, go through your progressions. It's just not working right now. And it's not working with Bryce Young. You don't want Bryce Young to go out there every single game and to have over 35 pass attempts. Even though Andy Dalton in this matchup only had 24 pass attempts, you still had moments on the offensive end that make you basically scratch your head with Dave Canales. Rico had 8 carries for 54 rushing yards, while Chuba Hubbard had 12 carries, 34 rushing yards. I don't have a problem with Chuba Hubbard getting carries. I have a problem when he gets more touches than Rico, because right now, Rico is a better running back than Chuba Hubbard. The one positive here out of this game, Tetairoa McMillan has been phenomenal in every single matchup. He's had moments. He is going to be one of the best wide receivers in the game. He is an amazing talent. He is their best wide receiver by a mile. He is amazing. I can't say enough good things about him. He's constantly open across the middle of the field. When they move him around, something that Dave Canales has started to do over the last 3 weeks, he's starting to actually put him inside the slot. And I love to see that. Against the New York Jets, I was so frustrated. You have him on the outside against Sauce Gardner. Now, trust your guy against their guy. But at the same time, let's move this man around. At the college level, they had him inside the slot. They had him on the outside. They ran jet sweep plays with McMillan. Do the same thing here in Carolina. When you put him inside that slot, he's too fast for linebackers. You're going to put a slot cornerback on him. He's bigger than most slot cornerbacks. You're going to put a safety on him. Good luck. He's faster than most safeties. The skill set is there, and he has phenomenal hands. The kid is just phenomenal. It's just that simple. I just love me some Tetairoa McMillan on the field. If you can give him every single target, do so. That's how impactful he is. And I'm the same guy. I'm a huge fan in the past of Vincent Jackson, the same with Mike Evans. It is something about those wide receivers. Big in stature, smooth route runners, have amazing hands. A 50-50 ball is more so 95-5. And that's the case here with McMillan. And there was also a situation in this matchup. And the commentators pointed this out. You have Shaq Thompson, former Carolina Panther, by the way. He's guarding McMillan in the middle of the field. All Andy Dalton has to do is direct him up the field. Instead, he throws it to the outside and it almost goes for an interception. All you have to do is just lead him up the field and it goes for a touchdown. But he was the best player in today's matchup. 7 catches, 99 receiving yards on 10 targets. Jalen Coker, he's getting better. 3 catches, 36 receiving yards. And he had plays where he was getting open. Andy Dalton just didn't see him. And when he did get open, Andy Dalton was getting sacked or he was getting hit. JT Sanders, 3 catches, 19 receiving yards. Xavier Legette had a good game last week. I'm not an Xavier Legette believer. I think Xavier Legette is a okay wide receiver at best. I don't see the same things out of McMillan and out of Coker that I see in Legette. I don't see consistent route running. I don't see consistent hands. Maybe he could prove me wrong one day, but I think that he's the number 4 target on this roster at best. And I know last week he had the good game, but consistently he hasn't been there for the Carolina Panthers the same way Coker has been and the same way McMillan has been in his rookie year with the Carolina Panthers. Now this offensive line, now I'm concerned. You already had injuries on this offensive line. Cade Mays, to me, is a very good center, underrated player. But Brady Christensen was terrible in this matchup. 3 pressures allowed, 1 sack allowed. He gets up. He gets drove back into Andy Dalton. Just a nasty play. Great defensive play by the interior rush. But he gets up on that one knee and he falls right back down. And it seemed like he tore his Achilles. I hope that's not the case. But Dave Canales has come out and he said that he fears that it is an Achilles injury. Brady Christensen has some good moments this season leading up to this point. I'm not just going to come on here because he had one bad game against the Buffalo Bills and say that he's terrible. It was a bad game this game. But he has been a very suitable offensive lineman for the Carolina Panthers, and I hope that he can play for the rest of the season. But right now, it doesn't look good. And the reason why I say it doesn't look good, you have Chandler. He's on IR, and the same with Robert Hunt. Now Brady goes down. That's just a recipe for disaster on the right side of that field. Ickey and Damian Lewis, they're definitely going to have to hold things down, and the same with Cade Mays at the center position. Defensively here, just a piss poor effort all the way around. This is how the Russian defense looked last year when they allowed 2,000 rushing yards on the ground. James Cook got whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And the same with Josh Allen. They just couldn't stop the run. Now, it's not all in the defense here when your quarterback is constantly having drives 3 and out, and you're stalling out, and you're having constant turnovers, and your defense has to get back on the field. This tends to happen. But this was not a good day for the defense. Not even close. James Cook looked like a version of Bo Jackson mixed with Adrian Peterson in today's matchup. He was running through defenders, and certain holes he was just getting through, no one was there. He had 19 carries for 216 rushing yards. He averaged 11 yards a carry, 2 rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen, 163 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. And I will say this, in every single game this season, the secondary has had good moments. With J.C. Horn, with Mike Jackson, and Trayvon Moore. And I still believe that Lathan Ransom will be a very good starting safety one day for the Carolina Panthers. He's had some good moments. So it's not all doom and gloom. But I never want to see Andy Dalton start another game for the Panthers ever again. If Bryce Young's not able to play for the next matchup, go with Hendon Hooker. And that's not an overreaction. He's an older quarterback. He can't deal with the pressure anymore. He's going to fold like a lawn chair inside the pocket. And now teams, they're going to look at this film. And if Andy Dalton has to start some more games this season, they will blitz Andy Dalton. And I imagine that he will be terrible against the blitz because he is older. He can't move around. And I don't want people to come on here and use age as the reason why Andy Dalton was not good in today's matchup. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. He's having good moments with the Steelers. Joe Flacco, he's 41. He had some solid moments with the Browns. He's now having good moments with the Cincinnati Bengals. It's either you're a good player or you're not. And right now, Andy Dalton, he's not a good player. I don't know what Dave Canales was doing for this entire week, but he was definitely not game planning for the Buffalo Bills. But this was a terrible outing. And I never had the Carolina Panthers as a top-tier team in the NFC when they went on this 3-game winning streak. This is why I said be careful with the Carolina Panther hype. I feel like they are a team that is still rebuilding in the NFC. but they need to make more changes moving forward with the game plan with Dave Canales and the same with their defensive coordinator. You cannot have moments like this. You cannot have games like this. Those days are supposed to be behind you instead of still being out there in front of you with the moves that they made to this roster. But I expect for the Carolina Panthers to bounce back this season. I don't have them being a playoff team, but they will have some moments this season to where they will look better. They just need to be more consistent. But they gave up in today's game against the Buffalo Bills, which is very unfortunate for a team that was undefeated at home and that was currently on a 3-game winning streak. And we saw them bounce back from the Miami Dolphins and the same against the Dallas Cowboys. They showed more effort late in those matchups. They didn't in this one. The game felt like it was over with at the end of the third quarter. And that should never be the case, especially if you're a head coach like Dave Canales. Those guys are supposed to play for you from whistle to whistle. When it's 0 seconds on the clock, that is when you stop playing. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the Carolina Panthers and can they bounce back from this ugly loss? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.